I see Stevia Mills. I see Shadia Baringo. I can't pronounce that one. I see Lisa B.
So hi everyone, and welcome to Blabbing with the Besties. I'm one half of the Besties, Famira, the Diamond Diva, your visual impactologist. My other BFF in crime is not here with us on today. She had some other things that ended up coming up, so she is very sad that she was not able to join us, but she had an emergency that arose as well. So she may be able to check in just a little bit later, but that's not going to stop our conversation because I am here with the amazing CeCe Clark. I am so excited about having this conversation. You just don't know, CeCe. How are you doing?
I am absolutely. So, Famira, I live in a place called authentic happiness.
Yeah.
Which means, which means every day, like yesterday when I woke up, I was like, oh my God, this is the happiest I've ever been in my life. And then I woke up today and it was like, oh my God, this is the happiest I've ever been in my life. So I'm doing great. Life is good.
Awesome. I love it. Well, I want to just let people know who you are, just in case we have some newbies on the show that has never been introduced to the, fabulousness that is CeCe Clark. She is the director of global sales and has over 17 years of corporate development and entrepreneurial experience, having grown and scaled both emerging and Fortune 500 companies. As the director of global sales, CeCe is charged with the strategic growth and sales of transformational products and related services in markets worldwide for Motivation the Masses with Lisa Nichols. And so as a coach and trainer, CeCe created the 40K in 40 days predictive income system, helping entrepreneurs to get the coaching, confidence, and cash they need to build the dream business that supports their dream life. And so although she holds a master's degree from the City University of New York, CeCe developed her insight into the inner workings of creating predictive income as director at the DC Chamber of Commerce Business Development Manager at AT&T Global Sales, and finally as the CEO of Clark Development Group, a Washington, D.C. based real estate firm. And she founded and grew to $5 million by the age of 34. So she definitely knows her stuff. It looks like we may only get you on audio, CeCe, as the picture went out. So I don't know. I think because you're on your phone, maybe. So if you come back in, it may be able to work. But we're just going to keep pushing through these technical difficulties on today, you all, and we're going to have a great conversation. Hey, Sade, welcome, welcome. So we're going to see if we can get CeCe back on. Into the seat. Weather and technology is always, crazy. It's wonderful when it works, though, right? So anyway, just a little bit of background while we're waiting for CeCe to get back. Why I'm so excited to have this conversation is because I actually met CeCe Clark through Patrice Washington. Patrice Washington was really kind of my first introduction into the world of coaching. And at the time when I met her, I remember when Patrice first started coaching with Lisa Nichols, and because she let us know in her group, the Winner Circle. And then from there, I was introduced to a lot of fabulous women, Denise Hart and Zenobia Andrews, because they were all, in her class with her. And then, of course, ended up meeting CeCe and have met her in person, and she's just so genuine, just as you see her on the computer as she was here on the screen. That's how she is in person as well. And so just have always felt connected to her in that way. And so that's why I'm just excited to have this conversation, and why we will not take no for an answer. We're gonna get this thing working some type of way. so that we can have this conversation. So I'm excited to get it going. So we're gonna see if we can get her back on here. So looks like she went out. So hopefully she can go out and be able to come back in. So y'all know I hate dead air. So y'all talk to me in the chat because I want to talk to myself. Because I don't like dead air. It's just weird. I don't like it. So how many, let me ask this, how many that are in the chat are already familiar with CeCe Clark and Motivating the Masses? Let me know in the chat box. You're not swimming. That's fine. You're in for a treat. You're in for a treat. Awesome. Okay, so Sade, you're familiar with Motivating the Masses. Not familiar with CeCe, but with Motivating the Masses. Awesome, awesome. So hopefully when she gets in, she'll be able to tell a little bit more of her story and how that even came about with her, you know, moving over into the realm of actually working with Motivating the Masses. So because I remember when that happened too. So it's been exciting to watch as people move into other levels of business and life. And so I'm excited to talk to her about that. So we're going to see if this can happen. Like I said, if not, then we will definitely look at rescheduling because we want her on the show. So just have to see what goes down. Well, in the meantime, let's have a conversation around sales, right? So because that's kind of CeCe's thing, and where, you know, what she was even known for in her own business was in creating sales functions and being able to, like her program suggests, predictive incomes, you know, where you are not worried and basically, you know, make money in your sleep and money is coming into your business and flowing through your business. And so we can just start some dialogue around sales, because I really feel like oftentimes this is an area that women struggle in, you know, in not only charging their worth, but just also in recognizing the importance of knowing, you know, making sales projections and having sales goals, really being able to break those things down and not just on a superficial level. Because often, you know, even when I'm working with clients, I'll ask them, so, you know, what do you want to make annually through your business? And they'll know the number, you know, they may, you know, shout out, I want a 6-figure business. And, you know, and I'm like, well, what does that mean? What type of 6 figures? Are you talking about 100,000? Are you talking about 250? Are you talking about 500,000? Those are very different numbers, but they're all 6 figures, you know, like, let's get specific. And when knowing that you want to make 6 figures, like, what are you making now? And what kind of goals do you need to put in place to actually reach that level that you're trying to get at? So I want to ask you all that are in the chat, if someone wants to jump into C2 in the meantime while we're waiting for CeCe, please feel free to do that as well. But I want to ask the ladies that are in the chat, if you have had that struggle, right, with sales and sales projections and really just being, I guess, what's the word I want to use? I guess aggressive. I don't know if aggressive is really the word, but, you know, intentional. That's what I want to, intentional about your sales and the sales process and really what those numbers look like. And if you have actually struggled in that area, and why do you think that is? Let's see if anyone has any feedback. I know that y'all are probably multitasking while y'all are probably listening to this show. But I need y'all to be interactive with me on today. This is the downside of when my bestie's not here. Normally I could just talk to her. So I think the struggle with being confident with the prices I set. Right. So that's a good point to make, right? And so the thing about it is, where does the lack of confidence come from, right? And so oftentimes you have to look at the fact that if you are not confident in the fact of the pricing that you're setting being pricing that someone would purchase at, is it because somewhere you don't feel as though what you have to say or your services are worth that? And see, that's a whole nother conversation that needs to now be had, because why do you feel like you're not worth that rate? Clearly, you know, if we know, and I know, Cinnamon, that you are amazing at what you do, first and foremost, so I know that personally. But you know, you have to really look at, like, why are you struggling with that? Why do you not have that confidence? You know, because normally that's going to be a situation that's going to stem from somewhere else, you know, of not feeling like either you're educated enough in the field or you have enough experience in the field. You know, do you not consider yourself an expert? And if not, you know, so she said, you and me, yes, M.E. Porter, have helped me with that. It's tough when people don't purchase. I think maybe I've charged too much. Right. So no, let me help you shift your thinking on that, right? So if you put a program out there and you have priced it and you know that you've priced it at a point that is valued at, right? And people that you're in front of is not purchasing, then what you really must do is now evaluate, are you really speaking to the right people? Right? Is the audience that you're putting your product and service in front of really truly the correct audience, right? Because we often do that too. We put our programs and services in front of people that are really not truly our ideal client for one reason or another. Either it's because they really can't afford, like they're not in that price range of where you're at, you know, so they don't have the income or the disposable income, or even the notion to want to stretch themselves to pay that, or it may just be that what you're putting out is not speaking to them because they're not really who it's for. And so you have to start doing that type of evaluation and see, is it who, you know, are you speaking to who you really should be speaking to in regards to that? So it's not necessarily often that you're charging too much. It's that you're not talking to the right people. So Stevie says, sorry, responding to the news station on the phone with the clothing designer. I'm listening in though. Always multitasking, Stevie. Always have 9,000 things going all at once. Hey, Mitra, thanks for joining us. So for those that are just joining in, we have had some technical difficulty with getting CeCe in the seat. She was in the seat, and then connection issues, and then she got out, and I think she's trying to get back in, but right now we're not having success. But I know her, she's probably still over there trying to make it work. For those that were here earlier, they heard her say that she's not one to take no for an answer. So that's why I'm still here waiting, because I have a feeling that she is still trying to get in, and she's gonna figure out a way to get in. Right before we went live, the power went out in her entire neighborhood, and so she was trying to join us from her telephone, and so we are still trying to see if we can get her back. So in the meantime, one of the things that CeCe is known for is really talking about systems and around sales and marketing. So I just decided to kind of start the conversation there and to see, you know, how people are, you know, women are struggling with the sales process. Are, you know, if you're not getting enough of the clientele that you really want, you know, and that type of thing. Why do you think that is? And so we were kind of starting to have some dialogue around that. So you can feel free to jump in and chime in the chat, or even jump in the seat in the meantime while we're waiting for CeCe to return. That would be awesome. Like I said, because my business partner is not here, and so it's just me. Y'all have just me. Which, I mean, you know, I'm more than enough, but you know, so but yeah, because I really feel like that's a conversation that is hard for a lot of women. I know that it was something that I was challenged with, you know, when it really came to setting my prices. For me, it wasn't the initial setting of prices, it was the raising of the prices that always gave me like heartburn and indigestion. It made me nervous. But when I sat and realized that, you know, what I have to offer is worth this, that I was able to just, you know, go ahead and do that. Oh, looks like we got her back. Let's see. I have been challenged with knowing prices that I need to charge and closes. Hi! Say something. I don't hear you. I see your mouth moving. Wait a minute. I heard something just then.
I tell you.
Yay! There you are.
This has been a technology challenge stage for me today.
I know. That means our conversation is supposed to be so good.
It's supposed to be juicy.
Right. Well, while we were waiting on you to get back, because I was telling everybody, I know she's not accepting no for an answer, because she had already said that. We just kind of start having a conversation around sales, since you know that was kind of, you know, your thing and what you are known for. And so I was just asking the ladies in the chat to really talk about why they feel like they struggle around sales and around, you know, setting prices and actually making money in their business, because I do feel like it is a different struggle that women have compared to what men have. So yeah. I would love to hear your feedback, you know, on that and what you think.
Absolutely. What were some of the folks saying when you asked that question?
So Cinnamon shared that she struggles with being confident in the prices that she sets, because for her it's tough when she puts out a program or a service and then no one purchases it. It makes her think that she charged too much. Okay. The other person said that Stevie was saying that she's challenged sometimes with knowing what prices that she needs to charge and then closing the sale.
I love it. So if you guys remember from my intro, the thing that I talk about in 40K in 40 days is the coaching, the confidence, and the cash, right? Because those are the three pieces that's missing. So it's interesting that coaching and confidence, which obviously lead to cash, were the things that folks talked about here. So let's talk about that a little. I think for women in particular, I'm gonna make it real simple. I think for women in particular, when it comes to sales, you know, our biggest thing for us is that confidence piece, because I truly believe that you have to be your very first sale to yourself, right? You have to be convinced first that you are worth whatever it is, whatever that price is that you set. You have to own it. You have to believe it, and you can't just you can't just believe it. You can't just say you believe it. You actually have to own that on the inside, because so much about selling is about being confident. So much about selling is making sure that you are convicted that what you have is the absolute best. I am giving you a gift, right? I am giving you a gift. And that's almost the energy that has to come out of you. But you have to believe that first. And for so many of us women, you know, we don't have that. You know, we struggle with, you know, am I good enough? Am I smart enough? Am I whatever enough for people to have to pay us for our genius? That's kind of the first piece. The second piece for us, for women, we have this belief that because stuff comes easy for us, it's not valuable. Right? Like we
Right.
think it's not valuable just because it's easy, just because, just because a mother can, clean, keep the house clean, take care of the kids, take care of her spouse, do all this other stuff. Because it's easy, we think there's no value in it, when that certainly isn't the case, right? So I think first thing we have to do is just do things that help you gain that confidence that you need to sell to yourself first, that you are worth whatever it is, whatever that price point is. Right. And then I think the second half of that is making sure that you recognize that people aren't saying no to you. When people say no, they're not saying no to you. They're saying no to whatever that possibility is that you're looking to create in lives, right? They're saying no to themselves, really. And so for me, because I have a heart for people, I have a hard time with them saying no to themselves, right? I have a hard time with it. Cevia gets it. Like, I have a hard time people saying no to themselves. And so it makes me even more convicted, because I know what I can do. If I tell you I'm going to teach you how to make $40,000 in 40 days, you best believe I'm going to teach you how to make $40,000 in 40 days. And if I know that that could drastically change your life, like, why would I not be convicted about sharing that with you, and making sure you understand the value? Now, you get to choose.
Right.
Everybody's not, girl, look, everybody is not ready. Like, everybody isn't ready. And it's okay, because when they are ready, they'll come back around. They'll come back around.
So true. So true. So I took a poll in the beginning too, while we were waiting on you to come in, to see who in the chat was familiar with CeCe Clark and with motivating the masses. And so we had a lot of people that were definitely familiar with motivating the masses, but wasn't really familiar with who you are and how you're connected with the organization. And so I have a unique position, because I remember when you first joined the staff of Motivating the Masses. And so I know how it goes. You can't hear me? Oh no. Is anyone else having issues hearing me? Oh, I don't know. Everything seems right on my side. So, okay. So, oh no. Everyone else can hear me. She went back out. This is like horrible. What is happening with technology today? I'm so sad. No. So anyway, I wanted her to tell you all the story of how she really got started with being in business and then making the transition over to motivating the masses. So I'm not sure if you can still hear me, CeCe, or not. I'm gonna put it in the chat and see if she reads that, and see if we can hear her. Oh, you can hear me now? Okay. Well, let me see. I can't hear you, but I was trying to have you tell us kind of how you went from having your own business, entrepreneur, and decided to make the plunge into working with motivating the masses. So if you can share, I'll see if I can hear you. Looks like she's going to try to jump back in. This is so crazy. So, I don't know what's happening. So anyway, but yeah, it's really just an interesting story. So I wanted her to share it because You know, oftentimes, even as entrepreneurs, we have various opportunities that come, you know, to us, and we have to be able to make the decision on whether or not that opportunity is for us and whether to move forward with it. So that's why I kind of wanted her, you know, want her to tell the story. I can't hear you. No. I see your lips moving. I know what you're saying. There it goes. There it goes. Okay. I guess it's taking a minute for the sound to jump in for you.
All right. So let me talk about how I did that. I would love to talk about how my business motivated masses. So first of all, I travel around the world sharing this message of hope and possibility and letting people know that they can create businesses that supports their dream life. Like, that's what I get to do. And I do very, very well doing that. And I get to deal with people who are some of my best friends in the world, with people like Lisa Nichols and, you know, other people that are in our company. But I came to that work in a very, very strange way. Because I actually, you know, I've been an entrepreneur forever, all of my life. My very first business, I sold Pac-Man shaped French fries outside of my home in the 5th grade. Right? So I have been an entrepreneur forever and ever and ever. And so in one of those businesses that I created was wildly successful. So by the time I was 34 or 35, one of those two, I owned a real estate development company. Had taken it from 0 to $5 million in 36 months. It was absolutely amazing. Had that business for, you know, 9 years almost. But then when the market shifted, you know, we were shifting in our business, but not fast enough. And I say to people, I woke up one day, I was 60 pounds overweight. I was $2 million in debt, and I was severely depressed. And I'd started living a life. I laid down on my life. I began living a life that absolutely wasn't mine. But once I stood up, once I stood back up, and remembered who I was, I created another business. It was an IT consulting business. I took that from 0 to 7 figures in just under a year. So, like, I was starting to get my life back. But what would happen, Famira, is when I would tell people the story, when I would tell about my story, yeah, I created this $5 million business, lost it, you know, it was $2 million in debt, but now I have another 7-figure business, you know, and I'm doing great. And I would tell people that story, and they would like, how did you, you know, how could you do that? Like, wasn't your heart broken? Where you sad? Like, how did you create another business? And people kept asking that story, and I would tell the story. They became very inspired. And so I knew I wanted to share this message about a person could create success even in the face of failure. Even in the face of failure, it didn't matter. And I knew that in sharing that message, I really wanted to model the speaking part of my career after somebody who resonated with me, who may have had a similar, different, but similar journey from me, who looked like me, who talked like me. And so I decided one day that Lisa Nichols was going to be my mentor at a distance. Right? But as God would have it, she wouldn't stay very distant very long, because I had the opportunity 5 days after I made this decision. I literally, out of the blue, was sitting at a table across from her in Dallas, where I was living at the time. And we just developed a relationship and a partnership from there. And I really worked with her first as a student to share that message, to get that message out, that you can create success even in the face of failure, and that, you know, we all get that, you know, our past doesn't have to be a predictor of our future. If our past was a predictor of our future, look, I grew up on the east side of Cleveland with a single mom, 3 older sisters, you know, with a mom who never graduated from high school. The highest salary she's ever earned was $8 an hour, right? There was nothing to indicate from my past that should have led me to a $5 million business, right? So I just was a true believer that that your past did not have to predict your future. And so I began as a student of Lisa sharing that message with people. That message really resonated very well. Mm-hmm. And about a year and a half after working with her as a student, she looked at me one day. I'll never forget, it was hilarious. We were in the British Virgin Islands. I was traveling with her, volunteering, by the way, important lesson. I was traveling with her, British Virgin Islands. I was volunteering, and she said, she was like, well, put your feet up. Aren't you tired? We've been working all day. Put your feet up. Lean back on the couch. Look out at the ocean. And I'm like, what in the world is this lady doing? She's like, let me make you breakfast. She made me a smoothie for breakfast. It was really kind of weird. And then she looked at me and she said, I would love it if you wouldn't be willing to come on board and be my director of global sales and partnerships, and I was so honored that, even though my brand at the time, my CeCe Clark brand was, reaching about, about 15, 20,000 people a year through, all of my platforms, through the work that I did, it was really cool to be connected with a brand that reaches 30 million people a year. Right. So it was a no-brainer. And she's always treated our relationship as if it were my own business. I operate it as if it's my own business. I have budgets. I have a team. I have, I have autonomy to a degree, right? I have autonomy with, and we've always looked at it as a partnership so much. Mm-hmm. But I'm an entrepreneur. So I've always believed in multiple streams of revenue. So there's still other things that I do, even, in addition to motivating the masses, just because it's who I am in my DNA.
Awesome. So I just love that story because like I was sharing with them is that, often as entrepreneurs, different opportunities will present themselves to us. And, because it doesn't necessarily always come packaged in the way that we think that it should come, we a lot of times run from it or don't capitalize on the opportunity. And so that's why I just always love hearing that story, because I know a lot of entrepreneurs that would have looked at it as though they were going to get a job, and not, and really has struggled with whether or not to take that opportunity, and, may have passed it up and not really looked at it in the way that you did as a partnership and still operating as though, as the entrepreneur that you are.
Seriously, before I thought I was unemployable, right? Like I really thought I was unemployable. Like, I can't work for anybody. Like, that just doesn't work. But I certainly knew that I could partner with people. And it was very important. So two things were really important to me. And I love that you say that. It was really important to me. Is it Stevia Mills? I love that. She said it was leverage. It absolutely was leverage, right? I knew that I could get leverage for my own brand. Not that I was looking for that, but I knew I could get leverage with my own brand, right? Working with motivating the masses. She said, Stevie like Stevie Wonder. I love it. I got it now. I own it, Stevie. I own it. But I knew I could get the leverage and additional brand recognition as a result of my work with motivating the masses. I knew that it was a partnership. And again, I structured it in such a way, right? Like all of the products that I had before, all of my programs, second paycheck without a second job, 40K in 40 days, like all of those products, I still own those. I didn't sell those to motivating masses. Now motivating masses gets to license them, right? But I own that intellectual property. So that was the second thing that was really structured as a partnership. And thirdly, again, I always knew that I needed multiple streams of revenue. And so I've never stopped doing that. I have a number of, I won't say a number. I have other things that I do that, that bring in additional revenue. I call it my back of the head money. Look, while my head's on the back of the pillow, I'm still making money from other things, right? So those things are just important to who I am.
Right. And I think that first of all, you said two things that I think are very important, especially for women to understand. And number one, it is the fact of you saying that you still own your intellectual property, and that, you know, they are licensing it out. A lot of times I don't think that women take the time to really know how to protect themselves and know how to broker something like that when it comes to their intellectual property. It's just like, oh, it's exciting, yeah, you can have it, and then next thing you know it, they have no longer have any rights to their own stuff.
Seriously, absolutely. And here's the thing, because it's another one of those, if it was easy for me, right, then it must not be of value. And chances are your intellectual property is something that flowed out of you easily.
Right.
So one thing, but I'm going to tell you the other thing about us as general. And I don't know if it's a woman thing or it's our women thing, or I don't know what it is. A lot of times we feel nervous about investing in the resources that would allow us to protect our assets, right? So we don't want to, you know, oh, I'm just going to go online and Google a contract. No, you get a dang lawyer, right? Like, you know, you do the things that are necessary. Again, you have to know everything we're saying here, Famira, is all about, look, you got to know your value.
Right.
You know what that is, and you got to own it. You know, you got to own it, and you got to do what's necessary to protect it and to grow it. That's your responsibility. But if you don't know, if you can't, you know, own your own value, and let me tell you, it took me a long time to recognize who I truly was and the value I brought to organizations. You know, it took a long time to get that and to really own that. But when you do, money will follow you down. And I mean, money and business and impact and just that thing that you want to bring to the world, like, you will have no choice. You know, you will have no choice.
Right. And so Stevie says, when we learn to charge accordingly, we will be able to have the money to invest in ourselves to protect and grow our value. And it's so true. You know, and I tell people I struggle with, you know, pricing and charging my worth. But for me, it was more from a place of, I still recognize the value and I knew the value in it. But for me, it was from a place of wanting to help and wanting to be this, you know, be the giver that I am. And so it was like, you know, people would be like, oh, okay, that, you know, I would love to work with you, but that's just too much. And then I would be like, oh, okay, well, I'll offer you a discount just because I want them. I know they need what I have and I want them to get it. And so it was that giver, nurturer piece of me that, you know, kept wanting to be like, well, let me help you. But, you know, it took, you know, I actually had a discovery call with another coach and was talking to her, and it took her telling me, how can you continue to give if you do it to the detriment of yourself and your own livelihood? How much more could you actually be able to give if you were getting paid your full rate and what you were worth in other ways? And you know, and she really just talked to me about, not only was I doing a disservice to myself, but I was really doing a disservice to my clients because I wasn't holding them in a place of power and, you know, and up leveling them because I was so busy trying to come down to where they were at. And
right.
So that was definitely something for me that, like, I was like, oh.
It's true. So one of the most powerful statements I've ever heard a coach say was, your lack of resources doesn't determine my value. Right? Like, and that's real. Just because so there are two things I'd invite you to consider, right? One is, what is it about your language, the language that you're using online and your marketing, whatever, what is it that you're using in your language that are attracting people who can't afford you?
Right.
Right. So that's the first thing. Like, look at that. You know, what kind of words are you using? So, you know, we all around our company, we always laugh because our early database that Lisa put together, right, the database of people that we had, you know, it was nobody could afford to buy anything, right? But Lisa's language was all about, you know, suffer and struggle and right and feed your babies, and you know, it was that kind of thing. So no wonder our database was full of all these people who couldn't invest in themselves because they were in that kind of conversation. You know, so one, I, you know, challenge you to look at your language that you're using to just figure out how those people are being drawn to you. The second thing I really invite people to do, I really invite them to do, is I truly believe that that all of us, that how you do anything is how you do everything. And there are ways that same, you know, giving to your detriment, that it shows up in other aspects of your life, right? Like there it shows up. And I believe that, and I say how you do anything is how you do everything, because for most of us, early on in our lives, something happened. Who knows? Something happened, some specific emphasis. For some people, it's, you know, big and catastrophic. For other people, it was, you know, could be looked at as inconsequential or insignificant. But what happened is we made a couple of key decisions about ourselves at the time that event took place, right? And so we made some decisions, and then we spent our lives living out those decisions, right? So I'll tell you about one of the decisions that I made when, you know, on one of these monumental events, right, in my life, in my youth. I made a decision that life was hard. Life was hard. So I have gone through my entire life, seriously, I had gone through my entire life before I really understood this concept, living out the story that life is hard, right? So I always had to do things the hard way. I don't like to this day, I have to remind myself, follow a process, follow a routine. I didn't like following process and following routines. Why? Because following process and routine, wouldn't that make things a little bit easier? Right? So because I had lived my life this way, everything I did, you know, made stuff harder. I remember, oh my gosh, trying to remember what grade I was in. I had another little business. I was selling bus tickets to kids, right? Like my mom was poor, so I would get free bus tickets to go to school, right? Well, I started a little business, and then the bus driver would let me on the bus without giving him my bus ticket. Everybody following me, right? So I had all these extra bus tickets. And I remember one day I was going to sell all the extra bus tickets. Well, I knew how many I needed to get back and forth to school until I got my next round of bus tickets. But for some reason, I decided to sell all of my bus tickets. Right? Like, and then I couldn't then how the heck am I going to get to school? So I had to walk 2.5 miles to school. But it was all a part of that in my brain. Everything had to be harder, right? Like everything had to be harder. And so, you know, the other thing I'd invite you to look at is, you know, what was that decision that you made and how are you living your life in that way? Now, it could be you decided, and I always tell people when you decide either to be the exact duplicate of that decision you made. In other words, life is hard, so you go through life doing things that make life hard, okay? Or the other option for people is you live the dysfunctional opposite of that decision you made, right? So I try to do everything. I try to take the easy way out, not that it's easy so that life isn't hard. It's the dysfunctional opposite. So I would challenge you, one, think about your marketing language and what language you're using, but two, how are you, what was that decision you made and how are you living? How is that showing up in your life every day, either as the exact duplicate of that decision or the dysfunctional opposite of that decision?
Definitely. And so that, you know, for me, when she said that to me, I mean, I really had to do that whole self-reflection. And it's so funny because now, I would say probably in the last couple of months, everything about my business has changed as far as language, even just how I show up. And people are always coming to me like, they don't know quite what it is, but they have said to me, you know, like they've seen the shift in just, you know, and how I talk and, you know, how I'm showing up and all that. But it was really because of that moment that it was like, wow, like I really am doing that. And, you know, and in my mind thinking nothing's wrong with it because I'm thinking I'm coming from this great place of, you know, being a giver. Like who does
service? I'm of service.
it's
I
like,
love the world.
right. Like who doesn't want to be a giver, you know, type of thing like that. How could that be bad, you know? But not having those boundaries. It's not that the act of giving is bad, but you still have to have boundaries. Like I can give to charity, you know.
Absolutely.
You know,
look, let me tell you, girl. Look, I give all the time. I give to people who need, right? Like who really, really need me. Mm-hmm. Like I give to kids, I give to battered women, I get, right? Like I give all the time. Mm-hmm. But if you're an entrepreneur, you want to work with me, you're gonna pay full price, right? So that I can give to those people who really need me.
Right.
And I'm unapologetic about it because I know what I'm gonna produce in your life.
Right.
Right. I know what because here's my thing. The financial exchange that we make, you're never going to outgive me. Right? Mm-hmm. I'm always going to over deliver on what I'm offering you. Always. So I'm still giving to you. You're going to pay full price and I'm still going to over deliver. I'm still going to give you more.
Right. Right.
But this is the price you're going to pay.
Right.
So own that, girl. Own that
one. Definitely. Awesome. So Stevie said, I am learning that those that value you will want to sow into you because they want to sow into great ground. I had to do a mind switch to know that I am great ground. And so, you know, so it definitely is a mindset thing. And, you know, I think that certain things, unfortunately, become cliche or become it words. And mindset is one of those things that people really don't take the time to delve into what that really means and to really develop and switch mindset, because so many people are talking about it, which it needs to be talked about, but it almost kind of desensitizes, you know, people where they're like, oh, another person talking about mindset. And so they
only broke people,
right,
people
don't do the work.
Only broke people are desensitized to. Let me tell you,
right.
The people that I know, my friends that are doing well, we all talk about it all the time. We work on it all the time. It's broke folks that are desensitized to it, so don't worry about that. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
But that's true. But it's like I want because with this show, we always want to definitely talk to those people, because we might have some of them people that end up watching this and want to share with them, you know, why it's important to work on your mindset and like things that you can do to start making that switch. Because I think too, sometimes people, they know that they're dysfunctional in their thought process. They want to change, but they don't really know where to even start. Like, what do you do? What do I need to say? Some things sometimes feel frou-frou to people, and they're like, for me, I started with affirmations, and I completely, you know, I wrote a book on affirmations, so, you know, I'm like definitely all about those. But I know I get so often people are like, just because I said, you know, and they don't really get it. But how would you tell somebody that is at the point where they want to make a mindset shift, how to go about it? Like what they need to do?
So the first thing I challenge people to do is in the very beginning, when they decide, you know what, I do want to shift my mindset. Mm-hmm. The first thing I want you to do is I want you to say, I'm going to be uncomfortable and it's okay. Right? You absolutely have to accept that you're going to be uncomfortable. And so I usually start people by taking little teeny weeny actions it can be to make themselves uncomfortable and get used to being uncomfortable, right? Because it's all about that little shift. You don't have to, it's not about boiling the ocean and trying to do it all at one time. It's about what are these teeny weeny little shifts that you can make, right? That make all the difference. So start with being uncomfortable. One, like even if it's, wear different color nail polish, right? Like start there. Start wearing some crazy off the wall nail polish. Change your nail polish. Change your hairstyle. Go, just anything that makes you feel uncomfortable. If you don't like sharing on Facebook, share on Facebook. Whatever, what little bitty teeny weeny things that you can do to make yourself uncomfortable, right? Because here's the reality. Whatever you have is inside of your comfort zone. So if you're happy with the level of success that you're in right now, great, stay inside of that. Let's call this right here your comfort zone. Stevie said our comfort zone is our broken zone. I love you, Stevie. I love you, girl. So again, whatever you want, and look, and here's the thing. If you're happy inside of where you are right now, stay there. That's your comfort zone. But if you want something that you don't currently have in your life, you absolutely have to step outside to what I call the uncomfortable zone. You got to step out there. That's where anything you want that is not currently in your life, that's where it lies. So I'd like to have people take little bitty, itty bitty steps towards that uncomfortable zone, right? So that would be the first thing. I definitely believe in practice affirmations. But I think even before you get that, I think the door to any of our success comes through healing, right? And I truly believe that people have to start by, healing their hearts behind, whatever broke their heart in the beginning, And so again, like I was saying, when life breaks your heart, whatever that thing was that happened to you, you have to heal yourself from that first, right? You have to start by working to heal yourself. You can, and then you can go from there to doing some more. And a part of healing is really forgiving, and forgiving either the person or persons that were involved in whatever happened with you, and forgiving yourself.
Yep.
Because a lot of people don't do that. So the second step, I think, after, just taking those little steps to get out of the comfort zone, and the second step is, it's all about healing and forgiveness. I really think that third step is just getting out there and starting to take bigger action. So for some people, like you, so you're pretty advanced in where you are, right? Like, so for some people that's affirmations, for some people that's meditation, for some people that is, a technique that we call emotional freedom technique or EFT. For some people, it could be a number of different things, but try a lot of different things to figure out what resonates for you, and then do that thing. So for me, when I was taking this exact journey to come back from having lost this amazing business and, being so far in debt, I took the exact process I'm telling you is the exact process that I did. I literally started by just, what's one thing that I can do that makes me uncomfortable? Like just whatever it is today. And I said change nail polish because literally I wore the same nail polish for I'm just saying. I would go to the nail salon and pull my nail polish out the bag and give it to the lady. Literally. So, right? So I did that. And then to do the healing piece, I say this program, I won't say it saved my life. I say it helped rebirth me because I had lost me. Again, I laid down in my life for 2 years. The program that I use that means everything to me is a program called the Biology of Empowerment. and it's by a man named Dr. Lee Pullos. But there's tons of stuff, right? Like Lisa's No Matter What book is also a book that I used during that time. But it was all around, how do I heal my heart, right? And then in the biology of empowerment, I also learned some of those advanced techniques. So I did a lot of affirmations, a lot of meditations, a lot of EFT, a lot of, I did some of those advanced techniques that really shifted my life into the very next year, again. Okay.
Great. Awesome. Well, this conversation has been awesome despite all of, the technical difficulties that tried to keep us from having this conversation. But it was wonderful. But I want you to let everyone know how they can stay connected with you, what you may have coming up. If they are interested in one of your programs that we talked about today, like how could they go about getting that and all those great things.
Awesome. Well, listen, I love hanging out with people in social media. So you can definitely find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, everything. You can find me at Just Ask CeCe, JUSTASK CECE. So you can find me everywhere at Just Ask CeCe. To talk to me, to talk about coaching, I take on very, 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 very few coaching clients this day and age. I'm on the road about 175 days a year.
Wow.
So coaching folks is not always that easy to do from an airport. And again, I always over deliver. So I'm not taking a lot of coaching clients right now, but I do have a program that I'm putting together. It's a group program for people who really are looking to create a legacy, who are excited about living, and who just want to maximize their life. So I'm starting to put that together right now. It's going to be juicy, juicy, juicy. And it's all around helping people to get fit, feel fabulous, and become financially free. So look out for that coming on Facebook very, 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 very soon.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here with me today, CeCe. I definitely, as everyone knows, want to show gratitude. I don't take it lightly, and I know M.E. Porter agrees with me on this. We don't take it lightly when people say that they will take time out of their schedule to sit down and talk with us. So we are very appreciative of you saying yes when we sent you the information about the show and just being like, let me know what I need to do. We were very appreciative of that. And so thank you so much for being here with us.
I'm grateful to be here. I am absolutely grateful to be here. I met new friend Stevie, and I met another friend. I met a friend Shade. Shade, what is it?
Sade.
I met a new friend, Sade. I got to reconnect with my awesome friend Famira. Lisa B is here. Naturally Cinnamon, I got a new friend, and Coach Metra. So I met a ton of new friends today. So I'm just grateful to be here as well. So thank you.
Thank you. And so for everyone watching, thank you for spending time watching the show with us. We will be here again next week, 12 noon, Tuesdays, for more Biz Blabbing with the Besties. We have another amazing guest that will be joining us. And so we hope you will come back and join us as well. And until next time, have a wonderful week. And remember, keep on blabbing.